Infotainment Talk Radio, a podcast about vehicles. You love vehicles. We love vehicles. Let's talk. Infotainment Talk Radio with your hosts, Doug and Joel. Infotainment Talk Radio.
Welcome to Infotainment Talk Radio. I am one of the two hosts. My name is Joel. Doug is very busy. Infotainment.com is the sponsor of Infotainment Talk Radio, and we center the conversations around modern infotainment systems. A big topic of our customers, retrofitting, putting more current factory gear into a vehicle. So it's infotainment.com for all of your upgrade needs. On this edition, we have a special guest sitting in, and his name is Chris Billand, and we'll learn more about him in a little bit. Right now, we're going to go right to a word from the sponsor and be back on this About Us edition.
Hey neighbor, what are you doing? Working on this Jeep?
Yeah, hey buddy. Yeah, man. My daughter is old enough to drive now, so what I'm doing is I'm adding this factory touchscreen navigation radio and this backup camera kit so that when she's driving, it'll be as safe as possible.
Oh wait, so you're changing the radio and you're adding a backup camera?
That's
Don't
right.
you need a dealer for all that?
No, I don't. Nope. I do not. I found this website. It's called infotainment.com, and they sell factory plug-and-play radio upgrades, touchscreen navigation. Everything is pre-programmed, and it's do-it-yourself.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So what about my 15 Chevy Suburban?
Yeah?
My son Matt, he's actually only 1 year away from driving.
Right.
And it has navigation, but I wanted to add Apple CarPlay to it.
Okay. Yeah, just go to infotainment.com, enter the year, make, and model, and you find there they have a retrofit kit that will upgrade that Suburban with more current factory gear to add that safety feature of the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto like the newer vehicles have.
Exciting. I'm going to check them out today.
Awesome. Don't forget, tell a friend and give the gift of safety. Infotainment.com. Shop early.
Infotainment.com.
Infotainment.com. All right, Infotainment.com, definitely a great sponsor. Definitely a lot of vehicle enthusiasts go to Infotainment.com simply because they're constantly innovating what you can do with your vehicle. And I love to be affiliated with Infotainment.com because they help people make the most of their vehicle. Typically, a vehicle will depreciate, and Infotainment.com helps you add a little bit more value. But on this session, it's an About Us session, and we have a new cast member, as it were, someone joining us with tons of experience. I am so excited to learn more about his background. You may know him on social medias as Installs by Mr. Chris. His name is Chris Billand, and welcome to Infotainment Talk Radio. Chris, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, sorry, you got your mic up now. Sorry about that.
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing fantastic.
Great to have you, man. No, you're a great guy. You have a lot of skills and a great background, and I thought it would be awesome to share with our audience a little bit about your background because you are joining our team, and we have a serious initiative coming up here in 2022 to launch a mobile installation service. Typically, Infotainment.com has sold a lot of DIY stuff. Now they're looking at the service side, which is pretty cool, and that's where Chris comes in. So Chris, I thought it'd be cool to get a little bit of insight and learn a little bit about your background, maybe like an audio resume. So when cars are definitely a passion for you, getting around, breaking apart stuff. Give us a history of your background with vehicles.
Yep, yes, sir. So from the beginning, my dad was always big into race cars. And,
oh, cool.
Yeah, building race cars.
And you were there?
I was a part of it a little bit.
Okay.
I was not so interested, as a child. But as I grew up, you learn cars are cool because they're freedom. That's like the first freedom that you get when you're a kid.
Yeah, you're like, I can drive and go anywhere.
Yep, you can go away. Basically, from wherever you are, you can just go away. So it was always kind of interesting to me. And the audio world kind of came in as I got a little older. Again, it's probably the first things that you can kind of
So this would
customize
be like
yourself
in the 90s or late 90s, kind of early 2000s.
Yep.
And there were still like a lot of aftermarket solutions for people with their radios and whatnot.
Yeah,
Factory wasn't that great.
Yeah, it's actually like
some Ford pioneers with
early
exception.
Early to mid 90s. Actually, before I got a car, I had a car audio system in my house. So I bought all the car audio stuff, hooked it up at home, and it's it blossomed from there.
Right.
So building everything at home only made it that much worse when I actually got a car.
Oh.
It's just like, I just mentally unleashed on the vehicle.
What was the first car?
First car was a 1976 Plymouth Valari. Yeah, I know.
Really?
Yep. And
Isn't
it
that
had
pretty rare? Or what was wrong with it?
It must have
How'd
been
you get it?
because before I bought it, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
So it had the whole little mirror on the hood and everything.
Wow.
And it was a ginormous POS, but it was my first car. I bought it for like $300.
Okay.
And I hit the streets, and I think within a week it overheated, and my lack of knowledge on vehicles at that point.
Just how a motor runs or what have you.
Yep, I opened the hood and I left it on the side of the road and I caught the bus to work and I never looked back. I didn't even know what happened to it.
You abandoned your first car?
Yep,
Okay.
it's gone. I have no idea what happened
I thought
to
it'd be a little more uplifting story, but okay, so you just let go of that.
Yeah, so there's probably somebody that's going to hear this and be like, hey.
That is funny, though, but you just left it there. Hey, I found it. Yeah, so if you found the car, ITR radio at infotainment, or ITR at infotainment.com. That's our email address here. Anyway, I'm sorry, Chris, please continue.
Yeah, so that was the first car. The first car I really started messing with was my second car, which was a Geo Metro, 4-door, 4-cylinder.
Okay.
Yeah, the hatchback has a 3-cylinder. I did have the little bit upgraded version from the crappiest.
More of a premium or family model.
Yeah, of the crappy Geo Metro line. I had the better.
That's good.
So I put a full system in there. I had two MTX Black Gold 15s for all you old school guys.
This is booming. What year is this? Like 2000?
This is in the 90s, so I think this is
Still
probably
in the 90s.
98, 99.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was... I don't want to say it was the loudest metro in the world at that time, but it very well could have been.
Really?
Yeah, I got some pictures.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And the trunk actually rattled so much that the weather stripping, I had to get a water hose. I cut a water hose down the center.
Okay.
And I wrapped it over the weather stripping on the trunk just so it
wouldn't
compress it,
vibrate.
so it wouldn't vibrate. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty smart though too.
Yeah, trying to be
well, trial and error. If you don't try, you don't make the error, and then you don't learn. And so, but failure is sometimes a big part of success.
Trying to be smart and cheap at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
And then from there, my neighbors actually were really big into Toyotas, so they had all these old school Corollas, the 70s, mid 70s Corollas, and they're ridiculously fast for, nobody would picture a 1976 Corolla being like a race car or anything, but that was their drag cars. Yeah. So that got me into...
old... Remember, what were those called? The Japanese had Datsun.
Oh,
remember the old Datsuns?
Yeah, actually, that was my dad's race car was a 1977 Datsun 280Z. Yeah,
I
it was
remember
actually
that.
beautiful.
But then now that's Nissan now, kind of, right? That brand Datsun turned into Nissan?
I think it's different. I think the Datsuns, in my opinion, were better. That's probably going to get a lot of flack, but I like the Datsuns over the Nissans. The older Nissans, those were cool.
Yeah.
As Nissan progressed, I think they kind of went down a little bit in their coolness.
Their coolness, really?
Yeah, I think they're just trying too hard.
modability, right? Being able to mod out stuff and tailor the vehicle to the owner's preference. That's a huge thing. And I didn't mean to throw you off track there, but we were chatting with installs by Mr. Chris Billand, newly associated here with infotainment.com, and this is Infotainment Talk Radio. Thanks for hanging in there with. I kind of threw you a loop there with the Datsun. I forget where you were at in the story.
So with Toyotas, that's with my neighbors and their Toyotas, that's where I really just kind of was opened up into that world of Toyota. And my next car at that point in time was a 95 or was it a 90, I think a 94 Camry V6 which had nitrous in it. Yeah, it was kind of a lame race car, but it was my race car.
Well, but still at the time that's cool. I mean, and this is still
and my
pre-iPhone kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. And one of my best friends actually still to this day, he had a 95 Camry 4-cylinder supercharged. And we were just like the Camry dudes, hit the street and We were both into the same thing, sound systems and everything. And it's just kind of blossomed as I get older. I appreciate Toyotas more and more for their reliability and modability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think before this, we actually spoke a little bit about that, and that's a good kind of thing to elaborate on. Maybe as you described it to me, what does modability mean, Chris?
So now with the way infotainment is doing things, I really appreciate that they're utilizing OEM stuff, because now versus back then, I think back then you had a lot fewer companies out there making equipment. You had a lot less variety, so the quality, overall was better back then. Now you have everybody and their mom making anything.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, so you're going to buy aftermarket stuff unless it's really a trusted company that you can see some history with.
A big name.
Yeah, it's really going to be kind of rough or sketchy getting a quality product, especially most of the stuff comes out of China, which you can get good stuff out of China. You can get,
But, I think the point you were making there is that infotainment.com's primary focus is OEM gear. More, like we were speaking about, getting people more current OEM gear. All right, cool. So we're in the Toyota years, kind of in your timeline history. So have we hit the 2000s yet? I think we have.
Yep.
They're doing raves in downtown Orlando. And
in Hawaii.
You came from Hawaii. See, that's a cool point. We should talk about that.
Yeah, born and raised. And that's awesome. Hawaii nightlife is, I don't want to say it's, it's probably up there. It's probably rated up there with like New York and London. Yeah.
It's so beautiful, and the atmosphere is just undeniable.
Yeah, everybody that wants to be somebody eventually ends up in Hawaii sometime or another.
Cool. So you grew up with all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You have some crazy run-ins with people? See anybody famous?
Yeah, there's a whole plethora of movie stars that roll around. I remember one time, me and my friends, we thought we seen Britney Spears in her limo because she had a concert that night in Hawaii. So we were in a van. We started chasing the limo, and the limo, this is that night, the limo started running away. What? Yeah, and we were dead set believing that Britney Spears was in there. And
that's funny.
Yeah, and,
I did. Well, I did actually you corroborate with the Britney Spears stories. I've seen her and Justin at Del Frisco's back a long time ago. So
no kidding.
that could surely be true. Anyway,
wow. Infotainment
Talk Radio. It's not going back into your history. Yeah, Baywatch Hawaii. All of a sudden, no, that was cool. So here we are, and we're kind of in your history. It's awesome to learn your background, primarily in Hawaii. You were talking a little bit too about the fact that when you are trying to do something maybe that has never been done, and you communicate directly with a company, then there's some positive results. So I don't want to advance you too far in the timeline of the story, but eventually I think, kind of cool to get to that point where you talk a little bit about where companies are eagerly encouraging, like wanting to sponsor you because you're so constantly pushing forward. So keep with the story, and we'll get to that part.
All right. So just getting back, or keeping with that movie star topic, real quick. At Circuit City, when we were, I worked at Circuit City as an installer. Okay. And this is back in Hawaii. And what the hell's his name? Paul Walker.
Oh.
From Fast and Furious. He came down. He was a tourist. He was just visiting, and he stopped by the Circuit City that I worked at. And he actually had a rent-a-car as a Chevy Cavalier. So anyway, everybody stormed him, obviously, when he came into the store.
Right.
This is right after Fast and Furious just started to blow up.
Just came out.
Yep.
Okay.
And when he was leaving, he was in the parking lot. Everybody started yelling, to do a burnout. He did a burnout in his rent-a-car over the speed bump as he was leaving. It was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, well, that's a cool encounter. Yeah.
Yeah, jumping forward...
so you're in Hawaii, and you're still doing all this work in Hawaii, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So Circuit City kind of 2000 and I forget when Fast and Furious came out, but that's kind of the timeline we're on.
Yeah, it was early 2000s,
okay.
I think. Yeah.
All right, so keep us filling us in from there.
Yeah, so at that point in time, I was working for multiple different shops, just not kind of all over the place, but in a sense, all over the place. So I was working at a body shop, I
Doing
was,
whatever you could, kind of thing.
yeah, and kind of
auto related. Yeah, that's
not knowing at the time that I was building this wealth of knowledge,
Right.
you know, and you don't realize it when you're doing it, but as
Right.
you're doing it, that's what's happening, you know,
Exactly.
whether or not you wanted to or not. So working at a body shop and doing car audio gave me kind of both worlds, inside and outside of the vehicle, you know, experience. And from there, I went to Circuit City in Hawaii. From Circuit City in Hawaii, I went to Circuit City in West Palm Beach. I transferred.
Okay.
Still sticking with the company. And I would have stayed with that company.
Oh, so then you came to Florida then. Okay.
I moved to Florida at that point, and I would have stayed with Circuit City forever. That was an incredible
Yeah, well,
job.
they went pop at one point, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that I'm sure was crazy.
Yeah, they went under, and that.
You want to share that story about that?
Yeah, they crumbled from the top down. It wasn't a bottom up kind of
But
collapse.
you had a unique experience where I guess you were in the middle of like 4 or 5 things, and it was just like stop working. Mm-hmm. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, so all of the employees were just kind of watching the stock fall, you know, to 50 cents. I think it was around 50 cents.
Yeah.
What it was last publicly traded. And right when they stopped publicly trading, we were just like, oh, it's done.
Yeah.
So they just came in one day and told me, yeah, just get your tools and leave. And I was like, I got 6 cars in the bays here. They're all torn apart, and they're like, yep, just leave.
Oh my gosh, that's a liability and a half, though. But see, that's what I don't understand. It's like, okay, finish the work and then go. But I guess there's no more. It ends at that moment.
That's one of those things when I guess you can tell when people just stop caring.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like, yeah, just go home.
No.
Yeah, we don't care. Just go home.
Well, that's a good segue for a commercial because we do have a sponsor that does care about your vehicle and your inclination to discover your vehicle's potential. We'll be right back after a quick breakaway. We're going to get back into the tail end of the story with installs by Mr. Chris. Thank you so much for sharing. You're doing some awesome sharing here. This is very personal stuff, so thank you, Chris. Hang on. We'll be right back after this little breakaway. In 1665, following an outbreak of the bubonic plague in England, Cambridge University closed its doors, forcing Isaac Newton to return home to Woolsthorpe Manor. While sitting in the garden there one day, he saw an apple fall from a tree, providing him with the inspiration to eventually formulate the laws of universal gravitation. Got some extra time on your hands? Discover your vehicle's potential. Do the research. Ask the experts. Infotainment.com is over a decade old and specializes in plug-and-play factory radio upgrades, touchscreen factory navigation radios, or retrofit kits to add more current safety features like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, all while keeping the car or truck you already love. It's Infotainment.com. Discover your vehicle's potential. Yes. We are back. Infotainment Talk Radio. Speaking with installs by Mr. Chris. That is his handle on Instagram. And he is we just remarked there, thank you for being so genuine. It's kind of rare in the world. So, you kind of, bared a little bit of insight there with us. I appreciate that because this is kind of a get to know you about us type of session. And, we are looking forward to, flexing your domain knowledge with the mobile installation, infotainment.com in 2022. We'll be rolling out mobile installation service, so that's very exciting, and we will have a bay here and a van to travel to you. So more on that to come in the new year. Anyway, back to our session with installs by Mr. Chris. So Chris, okay, so you were at the close of the Circuit City. What'd you do then?
Yeah, so Circuit City closed down. I basically went on unemployment for about a year. Okay. Yeah, I made a decent living at Circuit City. So throughout my little career there, I saved up a decent amount of money.
You could kind of afford to plan what you want to do next.
Yep. So
Yeah, that's good.
I just did nothing for a whole year, and I spent more money unemployed than I ever did employed, just because I had so much time. So when I started to kind of run out of money, that's when I went to Best Buy.
Yeah.
And
did
the whole Best Buy installer thing for probably.
Yeah, that's right. I guess I forgot they do that, right? They'll sell you the gear and put it in.
Yep.
Oh wow, yeah.
And Circuit City had their own way. They would only solder and tape connections.
Okay.
Best Buy would only crimp. The only thing they would solder is alarms.
Okay.
So
little nuance. Yeah, they don't want to get
differences.
liability. Yeah, it's all about liability.
From there, I actually transferred back to Hawaii because I was kind of done with Florida at that time.
Yeah.
So I transferred back to Hawaii, and I got a job with Aloha Toppers.
Oh, wow.
And that introduced me into the world of trucks and camper shells, and I was still doing alarms. I did backup sensors with them.
Wow.
EchoMaster backup sensors, and ProCode, which is a electronic rust proofing.
Oh.
And which is kind of big down there.
Oh, that's
because
interesting. Because
the
why?
island, yep.
You lost salt in the air.
Yep.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that's
cool.
a
That's
really
big here in Florida too. I would imagine in certain areas.
it would be, but it isn't.
Oh, that's weird.
Untapped.
On tap. Oh, there you go. That's a
untapped
little
market right there.
A little. What was that? An Easter egg you just let out there? Okay.
Yeah. That
All right. Well, hope
that'd
nobody's listening to this.
Yeah, that'd be good for somebody to get
Our
into.
listeners don't take that tip. He just leaked out there. Anyway.
But from Aloha Toppers, and that was a fantastic company. Also,
So Aloha Toppers, they specialize in everything your truck, whatever you want.
Mostly covers, truck bed covers, but they do side steps and a few things here and there. But it doesn't get much farther beyond that.
It wasn't that overly
it's
intricate too.
Yeah, they don't do lift kits. They don't do wheels and tires. They don't. It's kind of limited on what they do, but they do it, and they do it very well. Awesome. And I would have stayed there also, but I moved back to Florida.
Okay.
From there, and that's where I worked for Capworld.
Oh, wow.
And
okay, cool. Yeah.
Capworld does all the same stuff. Tonneau covers, folding covers, camper shells. But they got me into the wheels, tires, suspension side.
Oh.
Doing a little bit more performance there also with intakes, exhausts, and some tuning devices.
You kind of had a little bit of background from the whole body shop in and out days, yeah.
Yep. So it's kind of just over the years, just kind of a puzzle of automotive knowledge just kept getting filled at all these different jobs that I've been landing. And
that's fantastic.
And
and to remark, everything literally would technically be aftermarket.
Yep. And with the exception of some, the body shop stuff, but for the most part, everything's been focused or centered around aftermarket. And the last piece to that puzzle is infotainment. And
then you came here. And we're very honored and happy to have you on board for sure. I will say, again, infotainment.com is our sponsor of Infotainment Talk Radio. And I thought it would be really great to kind of have a get-to-know-you session with one of our newest members here because he does represent a pretty big new swatch of territory that we're going to be pushing out into actually Central Florida and providing a service for people. So, know that the years of experience are going to benefit those individuals that tend to, want to use that kind of service. So, it's great to have someone with your domain knowledge here, Chris. So that's awesome. I really appreciate the given insight into the story and the background.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, it was awesome. And we did a quick kind of a snippet here on Infotainment Talk Radio, a little get to know you session with Chris Billand. Again, follow him on the social media out there. It's Installs by Mr. Chris. Of course, and everything's just all one fluid word there.
Yep, and I have a little bit of presence on Instagram.
Like social, yeah. Yeah, well, let's talk about Installs by Mr. Chris. I mean, that's really your independent brand,
yes,
I would say.
And I was actually trying to branch off from all of the experience that I have, just branch off and do my own thing.
Yeah.
Which is where the Installs by Mr. Chris came in.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put it past something happening in the future, but I am really excited about collabing with infotainment.
Well, it's really great to be able to say, you know, here's someone with a lot of skill and a company, you know, with innovation like infotainment is behind all that. So it's definitely great that you're on our side, I guess, now. And talk about anything else you want to talk about or share. Obviously, you got you want to talk about the vehicle you have now?
Yeah, before I get into that, on that social media.
You're doing a lot of work. You're doing a lot of work around here with the Toyota here. And, you know, anyway, but yeah, continue on.
In that social media, just to give everybody a heads up, there is some food pictures and some gun pictures. So
okay.
It's not just
don't be scared.
Yeah,
okay,
it's not just about cars.
Okay.
I'm a very technical person. I like little technical things. So guns.
So you put different pictures. Okay.
Yeah, guns.
So that's
always
a warning.
Interested me.
It's
also.
a spoiler alert. Type of a
yes.
thing. Okay.
But yeah,
right.
With the cars that I own now, I own a 2001 MR2 Spider, which you can check out on my Instagram, as well as a 2014 4Runner Trail Edition. It's
that thing is loaded.
5th gen 4Runner 4-wheel drive. It's got all the crawl control and stuff I never used yet. It does just fine without it off-road. And the truck that I'm building for infotainment right now is
whatever you can let out, but
it is a Toyota. It is a 4-wheel drive.
I think it's 2020?
2017, I believe.
Oh, it's a 17?
Yep, it's a 17, but we are converting it to 2020.
Oh, wow.
TRD Pro.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so it's something to look forward to.
Now, you see, with Chris involved, we get the whole 360 of the vehicle. You can do things. You put in factory shocks, struts. So that is fascinating, is what you're going to be doing with that. You know, up to date, we kind of were all on the inside with most of our stuff, you know, and now you're helping us get all around and on the outside. So I love that.
Yeah, so basically from bumper to bumper, everything from top to bottom is going to be, I'm going to have a hand in every crevice of that vehicle.
Well, and it's great too, especially with folks around here, if they want you to do it, you know, we can make that happen. Some other folks across the country, some of these things, infotainment.com does a lot of plug and play stuff that's DIY. Some of these things a little more, you know, maybe a couple more merit badges higher than that, let's say. Be wise when you're taking stuff apart. But has that always been a part of your background, just taking stuff apart?
Yep. And that's a good point to bring up, because you can ask my mom, if you get her in here one day.
Yeah.
She used to hate buying anything stereo related at home, because I used to dismantle everything, all the speakers, everything. I would just literally, I wouldn't destroy it.
This board, you would unscrew.
Oh, dude, yeah. Wow. Yep. And that's in my nature.
See, I didn't belong here so much. That's what's fascinating.
I didn't know about any of it, but I wanted to. So cool. I'd just go to town tearing it up, and she'd usually come home and see stuff everywhere and lose her mind, you know.
Yeah.
I was such a bad kid, but
well, you were curious, and that's good, but that pays off. And so we'll kind of come into a nice soft landing here, close out this session. Chris, it's great to have you on board with infotainment.com. I am Joel, co-host and director of growth and development at infotainment.com. Chris is our new installations manager, and this is our earnest and honest get to know you session on a Friday afternoon. So anything you want to close out with? I'm going to bump another little spot here to close us out. Anything, Chris, you want to do before we cut away?
Nope. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
And
thank you.
Yeah. Anytime you want to talk cars,
we're looking forward to it. Yeah,
I'm super down.
Yeah, I think really there's a couple guys in the company. I would love to just pop open some microphones and let you guys go at it, and maybe even take some callers at some point. So, you know, we'll see where that goes. Maybe our Car Talk audio show on a Saturday morning is a popular thing we can do. So at any rate, there we go. There we're open-minded visionaries here at infotainment.com. You're listening to Infotainment Talk Radio, and we thank you for doing that. Keep in mind, if your vehicle has a damaged unit, we can also repair. So in closing, we're going to make sure you're aware that we can repair at infotainment.com. Driving in a vehicle without a working radio can be a painful experience. That long commute is now a miserable trip. At infotainment.com, we merge nav repair services, and now you can repair, replace as an easy-to-select and purchase product on our website. So now, shorten the time you have to drive without a factory radio in your vehicle. Repair, replace your factory radio with nav repair services at infotainment.com. Ford, GM, Chevy, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Ram, plug and play factory radio repair, replace, or upgrade. Infotainment.com, your one-stop shop for factory radio solutions. Thank you for listening to Infotainment Talk Radio.